Alrighty, hey everybody. So I have this video floating around on my channel, this character generation thing that basically it was in-class combination of in-class lectures and solutions to assignments for a programming class about a year ago. And when I put them up there, I honestly, at the time, thought the only people that would ever watch it would just be the students, mainly because there's probably better ways to do it than an early programming approach. Yeah, I'm sure there's better ways to do it. But in the 7-8 months that it's been up there, I've gotten several requests for a first part to this. Notice, I just started part 2 because the students didn't have questions about what we did in class on the rest. Alrighty, so here we go. We're going to try to do this part 1, so that's what we're going to do. So the basic premise of that whole character generation thing, it is really loosely based on D&D 4th edition. And when I say loosely based, I mean really loosely based. It is not intended to be a rigorous reproduction of it, although it could be expanded to become far more accurate. So what we're going to need, we've got races that a player can select, and we've got classes a player can select, and the player has certain attributes. They all have a base value of 10. The player also has some hit points, and that base value is going to depend on the class that they select. There's also some other values, fortitude, reflex, and will, that all have a base value of 10. And, oops, these were supposed to be changed down here. Darn, let me update that. Well, no, I think I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to go with, I don't remember what these actually are, so I'm going to give half-orcs a charisma of +2 because everybody loves half-orcs. And, dexterity, intelligence, that has to go to the gnome. Basically what happened is it started off needing Dragonborn, Eladrin, and Tieflings, but I couldn't find a collection of portraits for those, so they got replaced with half-orcs, gnomes, and what's the other one? Drow, because I could find portraits for those. Yeah, we'll call that one a drow, sure. There we go. I don't even know if that's accurate at all, but that's what I'm going to do. So basically that got replaced by part 2 of this video set because, I had pictures of those, whereas I didn't have pictures of the others. Okay, so these are the rules under the hood that we're going to have to encode once we have all this other stuff in place. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to go through a sequence of steps here. So we're going to start off by build the basic UI. That's going to be step 1. Then we're going to build the backbone of the character system, and then we will implement adjustments based on class/race. And hopefully once we have that done, that will get this video up to where part 2 actually takes off, with one difference being I probably will not leave the error in the script that is there in part 2. Other difference being, hopefully I'm going to get my variable names right and this is going to flow correctly. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to start off, we're just going to build this basic UI. Now, the pieces I've got a bunch of textures, a bunch of portraits, and essentially these are Neverwinter Nights collections of portraits. So if you were to just go to Google and search for Neverwinter Nights portraits, you will find these. Neverwinter Nights was a very popular game and still is among certain areas, certain groups. So there's still a heavy modding community, and yeah, you can find these types of portraits. And I've just got them organized here, but that's really not relevant for this video, just to know that they're there. In part 2, we really work with those. I've got all these GUI elements. Honestly, I don't remember where I pulled these from. I want to say that in the Unity Asset Store, there's an RPG starter kit. I could be completely wrong, though. Yeah, this comes from the RPG starter kit in what's it called? The Asset Store. So basically, I'm just using some of these assets that I found there. And for fonts, I've got a couple of fonts up here. 1001fonts.com or whatever. I search for fonts online. There's tons of sites. So those are all my resources that I have already in here. I've got a scenes and a scripts folder. They're both blank. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off. Do some adjustments here. Let's move that over. And I'm going to go ahead and save this scene as I put it in my scenes. And what do you think? Let's call this character creation. I don't even know if that's what I called it in the rest of the videos. That's what I'm calling it here, though. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and step one is going to be to build that UI based upon the things that I'm going to need here. So that's what I'm going to do. So right click over here. Let's add a UI canvas. There we go. And as long as I'm here, I want my game screen. I want it to. I'm going to do 1024 by 768. I don't want to use free aspect. That makes it really difficult to kind of deal with. I want to use this standalone. It's kind of low res, but this really is more of an example of how we could build some of this stuff anyway. Canvas, there we go. All right, so there's my canvas. And I am assuming that you are at least, or everybody's roughly familiar with the basics of Unity. Because, yeah, this video series really picks up with students who already have basic Unity knowledge as well as some scripting knowledge. So here in my canvas, I'm going to change this scaler so that it scales with screen size. And I'm going to use a reference resolution of 1024 by 768. And what this is going to do is that all my elements inside here are going to scale as the resolution changes, if it changes. All right, so let's get going in here. So we will add a UI. I'm going to add, what do you think, an image? Yeah, let's do an image. This is going to be, I'm just going to call this background. Background, like so. Go down here into my GUI stuff and just browse through here. Let's see, what do we have in character generation? Well, we got some buttons. We'll definitely use those. What's this? That's text. That's text. Icon, menu, message box. Let's see, what's in a message box here? What's this? Well, that's not bad. I could probably use that. Yeah, I might use this message box. These are just some buttons, right? What's this? Menu window. Aha! I like that. Menu window quest. What's that? Okay, yeah, I'm just going to use this menu window. What's that? Okay, menu window. There we go. All right, so for our background, my source image, I'm going to grab this menu window that I've got here. And, you can get images from other places, so don't feel like you have to have exactly what it is that I'm using. You can get stuff from other places. And I'm just going to resize this to kind of snug into my canvas here. I'm not really going to worry about the corners so much. There we go. And yeah, I like that. And how's this look over here? So we get this blue showing through there. Let's go ahead and just change our camera background. Let's make our camera background. Let's go boink, something like that. Game. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Okay, I can live with that. That's not too bad. Let's see. Next up, I want to go ahead and start throwing in some more stuff here. So I'm going to right-click. And this is going to be a UI text. And once I kind of get my basics in here, then I can start duplicating some things. And this is going to be, I'm going to call this name underscore text. The text property for this is going to be name colon. For my font, let's try. I'm going to go with this Dale Lands one. And let's try that one. Alrighty. And let's give ourselves a color kind of in the yellow-orange spectrum. Oh, come on, move. Maybe something like that. Let's lighten you up a little bit. Let's try something like that. Let's increase our font size. Something like that, maybe. Let's see. Font style normal. Do we have a bold? We do. Do we have a bold and italic? Ah, I like that one. And I'm going to move this up to here. Let's see. I'm kind of really not going to know exact font sizes I'm going to want until like I'm done with this. So I'm just going to have to ballpark and start making some guesses here. Size that down there. Let's go ahead and add another image out here too. Canvas, right click, UI, image, and this is going to be title. There we go. And for this image, I'm going to want, there is something in here. Seems like I just saw it a minute ago. Oh, let's just type here. This, or this, character creation, this. Okay, so I'll go to title right here, and I'm going to put that right there. Let's zoom. There we go. And right in the middle, make it a little bit smaller. Okay, that looks good enough. Let's put you right about here, you think? There we go. I think I'm going to want that a little bit bigger on the font. 36 maybe. So then let's go ahead and increase some more options here. Let's see. Let's go with increase my height. And let's increase the width. There we go. I like that. That's not bad. And I'm going to go ahead and position this at, something like, let's go with minus 305. I like it a little bit further to the left, though. Yeah, let's go a little bit further to the left. What is that? Minus 350. I could probably bump it a little bit further. 375. Okay, I like that. Good enough. I'm going to put this down below that. I think that Y position is probably pretty good too. Yeah, I can deal with that Y position. That looks pretty good. And all right, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and Control D to duplicate that. This next one is going to be called, what do we want to do, race or class first? Let's do race. Oops, race underscore text. Let's call this race colon. Everything else should be fine. I'm going to move this down my Y by, let's say 30 units. So 234. And then let's shift it in to, yeah, maybe like minus 335. All right, how's that look? Let's go down a little bit more on that. Maybe another 5 units. So let's go to 229. Oh, we're looking. Probably want to go down just a smidge more. So let's go down to 224. So we have a total of 40 units offset between these. It's 264 to 224. And we'll just follow that offset all the way through. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, back here. So that's race text. Let's shrink you a little bit. There we go. Minus 341. All right, there we go. Okay, before I get going to, well, I'll add the text boxes in later. We'll do that in just a few minutes. So let's race text, Control D. Let's duplicate that. This is now going to be class text. And I'm going to come down here and do class. There we go. I'm going to bump you down 40 units, which should be, what, 184? Cool. All right, next up, we're going to start in on our attributes, of which, if I look at this, I'm going to have strength, constitution. I'm going to have these guys right there. That's what I'm after next. Okay, so let's class text. I'll do a Control D on that, and I'm going to call this strength text. And right here we'll say strength, like so. I'm going to drop you down another 40. That's going to be 144. And I'm also going to bump you to the left to wherever this name was. So well, I'm going to have to make you a little bit bigger. There we go. So where's the name at? It's at a negative 375. So let's bump you to a negative 375. Nope, too far. Let's just move you. There we go. So I got that nice line telling me I've got them lined up there. Good enough. Control D. Next one should be Constitution text. Constitution text. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this process going until I have these done. So yeah, you guys can catch up with me in just a second. Okay, so as you can see, I finished putting up the rest of the text there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on Canvas, right-click, create an empty object, and I'm going to call this empty object text labels, just to try to keep things a little bit easier to read here. I'm going to make all of these things children of those, like so. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add in, well, I'm going to need, eventually I'm going to need buttons on either side to raise those up and down. And I'm also going to need a text region in here where I'm going to display the values. And I'm going to need a text box up here where the user can enter their own stuff. So let's start right up here. Let's right-click and go to UI. And let's use a input field. And I'm going to call this name value, because this will be the value of the name, apparently. What do we have here? Let's see, I think I'm going to make it mostly transparent. Something like so. And what else? Looks about right to me at the moment. So let's go ahead and open that up. Placeholder is just going to say name, like so. Let's add in our Dalelands text. Let's go bold and italic. Let's increase our font size, maybe 36. We'll play around with this a little bit more. Let's move this so that it's up here in place. Maybe something like that. And we will make you a little bit bigger. All right. A little bit taller. And maybe a little bit like that. And it looks like I might end up having to bump everything around just a little bit to make sure I have room for stuff. We'll see how this all works out. Let's see, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of cheat a little bit and just do overflow and overflow on those. So that way I can really see that 36 is apparently going to be too big. There we go, like that. That's 29, whatever. Okay, let's do the same thing here. Dalelands, boink. 29. We'll do a bold and italic. I'm going to go ahead and leave these on overflow as well. I'm going to change my color on these things to be this kind of yellow color right here. I'm going to do the same over here. Wrong color. That color? Nope, come on. Ah, where'd it go? Placeholder. Cow. There we go. Okay, that'll do for now. And let's see, now I'm going to need another text. What I'm going to do for this, I'm just going to take race because this already has everything. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to pull it out of that group so it's no longer a child. Put it down here. And I'm going to call this one race underscore value. It's going to have a default value of, well, what's my longest race name, really? Oh, Halfling looks to be the longest. So yeah, let's do Halfling. Give it a default value of Halfling. There we go. Like so. And let's increase its width some. There we go. I see Halfling. Let's move it to the right. And then we'll leave some room for some buttons there in just a second. All right, so now let's take this. We will duplicate it. And we will call this class value. You know what might be a little bit easier than doing it that way? Let me just get rid of that one. Let's go to class. Duplicate that. Call this one class value. Let's see, what's our longest class? Warlord, Warlock. Yeah, okay. So we will just go with Warlock. There we go. And let's increase you. And move you to the right. All right, and I kind of want these to line up, and then I'll get you out of that group right there. All right, so let's go to race value. Let's move you a little bit. Thinking something like that, maybe. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to go fill in the rest of these things right here. Well, actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and throw a button out here. And then that way you'll have a really good idea of what it is I'm doing. Right-click, UI button. There we go. And let's see, do we have a next? We do. So I'm going to use, I don't know, either one of these is fine. Button, I'm going to call this one PREV button because it's my previous button. For the image, I'm going to use that image. There we go. Let's kind of zoom in on this and let's do some tweaking here. Let's move this. Did I call this previous? I did, didn't I? Okay, well, let me find. Do we have a previous? There we go. Let's use that instead. Ah, that looks better. Let's open this up, go to our text, and I'm going to call this PREV. As I debate whether or not I even want the text. I don't remember if I had text in the final version of this or not. Okay, let's move. Oops, come here. Come on. There you go. Move you over on the X a little bit more. Something like that. Move you over. And then we can scale you some more. Maybe instead of previous, I'm just going to do like a minus E. Kind of cheat a little bit there. That one. I'll go with a bold. I'm going to have to change my color for sure. Maybe that kind of color. There we go. Let's increase our font size. There we go. And let's see, I'm on my text, right? Can we kind of reposition our text in here a little bit? There we go. Ah, good enough. Go to the right just a smidge. There we go. Okay. All right, so clear that. Zoom out. Okay, so there's my basic setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down through the rest of this and get all of these in place. Hit points, fortitude, reflex, and will do not need these buttons here. Yeah, all right, so we'll see you as soon as we get those taken care of. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all of that stuff laid out. Also notice I changed my color. The more I was working on it, the more I was like, that yellow just isn't working for me. So let's do a little bit of cleaning up here. I've got all these things out here. So I'm going to go ahead and in my canvas right here, let's do a right click. Let's go to UI. I'm going to create, not a UI, I'm going to create an empty object. Let's call this object buttons. Okay, and in there I'm going to put all of my buttons. So all these things labeled button. All right, that looks pretty good. Buttons are down there. Okay, can close that up. Now let's do another. Let's right click on that. Let's do another create empty. This one, I'm going to call this values, for lack of a better thing at the moment. Sorry. And in there, let's put all of our values. Okay, so what do we have? We have our background, we have our title, and we have, all right, we have all of those things. So let's finish up this UI with just a couple more pieces. One of which is I'd kind of like to make this kind of stand out a little bit more. I'm sorry. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this background. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this defense box border. I'm going to call it border. And I'm going to bring this up here, right about there. And I'm going to go ahead and resize this thing. All right. All right. Let's bring this one in. Let's bring this one up. Okay, how's that look? That looks pretty good. Kind of helps that stand out a little bit. So I've got my defense border there. Now I could go through and grab all of these elements and make them a child of the defense border. That would probably be a good idea. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to be will through hit points. Boink. Let's make them a child of the defense border. That way I can move the defense border around and they will stay with it. Also values. I should have a hit point through will right there. Let's make that a child also. Okay, there we go. So, just to kind of reinforce, that gives me the opportunity of doing, that, which is pretty nice. Okay, so I've got that set up. Let's create an area over here for our portraits, which we'll be using later on. And then we will create a save and load buttons down here as well. Which one do we want to do first? I don't know. Let's see. Let's do, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and build the little portrait area first. So canvas, I'm going to right click. And you know what? I'm going to use something very similar to what I just did for the defense border. So let's go background. Let's duplicate that. Bring this up here somewhere, maybe right about there. And instead of background, I'm going to call this portrait border. That sounds good to me. And going to resize. Resize. Yeah, it can be up there somewhere. Resize. Maybe something like this. A little bit more. I'd like to get close to a square if I could. So I'm looking at, can I drop this down to like a 261? I mean, that's not bad. Could possibly live with that. Let's right click on the portrait and go UI. This time I'm going to add an image. And I'm just going to call this portrait. That's actually where the actual portrait will go. Let's resize this image so that it fits inside our cute little border. Something like so. And like so. Let's come up here. Cool. And let's go down here. Cool. All right. I'm liking this so far. Let's go to our buttons and let's grab a couple of those buttons just to kind of cheat. So I'm going to go with race and race. I'm going to grab both of those. I'm going to do a Control D to duplicate them. And I'm going to pull them up here into my portrait border. It's going to be right there. And I'm going to call this one, let's start with this one right here. I'm going to call this portrait next button. So we'll go portrait underscore next underscore button. And let's open it up and go into its text. And I'm going to give it a text of next. Cool. And then over here, erase next button. Well, I'll figure that out in a second. This is going to be portrait underscore previous underscore button. I think I actually just flipped those. I did. You can see right there. So let's go ahead and just make some changes here. You're actually in. There we go. And I'll come back and add the next to it in just a second. P-R-E-V. There we go. And which means your text should be P-R-E-V. There we go. No enter. There you go. Your text, instead of a plus, should be next and no enter. And your name needs to be next also. EXT. There we go. All right, now let's get these two positioned here a little bit better. Oops, I'm only moving one of them. Cute. Right there. I'm going to go ahead and let the X collapse like it just did. That's fine. Okay. That gives me more room. I might want to make that bigger. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so portrait previous. I'm going to go ahead and move you this way. Portrait next, I'm going to move you this way. And then I'm going to do some resizing on my image. There we go. My goal being to get my text to fit in there a little bit better than this. Next, text. Let's move our text just a little bit. There we go. That's not bad. So our portrait next, we ended up with, let's go with 131 and 72. There you go. So those are the sizes we ended up with. So I'm going to do the same thing over here on my previous. I'll just do a 131 and a 72. Previous looks decent in there, but let's wiggle it to the left just a little bit. Okay, now I could actually still tweak these some more and resize them. Yeah, I'll leave that up to you if you want to go that route. So you're at a position of 161, 165, huh? Negative 165. And let's put you also at negative 165. Yeah, they should be resized a little bit, but yeah, we're doing good. Okay, and I'm going to leave those two there. That's fine. I'm going to take both of these, do a Control D, but I'm going to pull them out of there, and I'm going to put them down here in buttons. Sure, why not? All right, so one of these is going to be called load underscore button, and the other one is going to be called save underscore button. Okay, now let's take both of them and let's move them straight down on our Y. Get them down around here. Okay, cool. Let's change our pictures. Instead of using that arrow that we have there, let's go back here. What is it we're using for our background? That's what I want to use. I'm just going to borrow this thing. Boink. There it is. Menu window. That's what I want. Okay, so let's go to our load button. We'll take menu window and drop you right to there. Boink. And we'll tweak it here in just a little bit. And save button will do the same. We won't do the same to you yet. All right, so let's move you over to here a little bit. And oh no, let's not do that. What's this button save? See, that's pretty darn close. Do you just have a blank button that I could like steal? That'd be awesome. What's this? No, this one. That might work. So let's go up here to that, and I think it was this one. That looks a little bit better. Source image looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, I can deal with that. Okay, so load game. Let's open this up. I'm sorry, not load game. This is load character, like so. And we are going to go ahead and have to expand some things to get this to fit in there correctly. There we go. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. All right, now let's do the same thing. So this save button, I'm just going to delete it, and I'm going to copy my load button, Control D, and I'm going to call it save underscore button. All right, let's move you to the right. Let's change your text to be save character, like so. And do some wiggling around with some of these things. Maybe like that, and get you out of that corner. Let's bring you up just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'll do for the moment. No, it won't. I want to change those sizes just a little bit. It's a little bit too big. So let's drop its width down. Wrong way. And then let's move the text to the left inside there just a little bit. There we go. I like that. And now I'm going to do the same over here with this one. Let's make it smaller. Like so. Grab its text, move it to the left. There we go. And I think that will allow me to snug up to the corners just a little bit better. And same thing right there. Okie dokie. All right, so we now have our UI built. So I've decided not to do it all in this video. I'm going to make a next video where we're going to put our code to work for us. So there we go. UI is ready to go. See you in the next one.